In a matter of seconds, this fire support boat can stop in merely a boat length. It's in Hellarbogen with 539 Assault Squadron Royal Marines, the UK's amphibious experts. With last year's exercise cancelled due to funding cuts, there's much to do. Some have never deployed here before, and the conditions are harsh.
It's just a case of wearing all the layers you can get your hands on, and bearing in mind the wind as well. We're doing 25-30 knots on the Orcs, and that massively reduces the temperature. You've got to make sure that you've got no skin exposed at all. Gloves are an absolute must.
We're doing a TAC B rep, so basically wrecking the beach, making sure it's suitable for landing of our other crafts and to get vehicles and personnel off onto the beach and make sure it's safe for them to carry out the actions that they need to do.
What you see here is unrealistic. The serious side to business for these Marines is covert, disaggregated, done in the dark and unphotogenic. But before they can train like that, they need to start with the basics, and that's done in the daylight.
It's mega tactical, so it'll all be done at night, no lights on at all, as quiet as you can. Comes with its challenges, and also leaving ground signs is a big one. So this beach is not too bad with the stones, but obviously if it's a sandy beach, you can leave footprints everywhere. And like I said, doing everything in the dark comes with its challenges. It's just a case of knowing exactly where your kit is and what you're doing.
They're generating experience, planning to develop their tactics over the next few years. And one of the biggest aspects of that is working with the Norwegians, not just using their infrastructure and environment.
Norwegian divers are now collecting data from or below the water, and the Royal Marines recce guys are now collecting data from the waterline till the main road. So we saw them trying to combine the two resources and make a product together.
And today really is one of the first days where the Norwegians and the Royal Marines have worked side by side. You can see the diver just coming out of the water now. He's been doing a visual and a fingertip search of the beach, ready for the Royal Marines to come in with their landing craft.
The good thing about diving is it's never colder than 1 degree in the water. It's never windy. So it's right now it's maybe 0 degrees right now. They would still be able to do this if it was 30 minus. It will just be worse for the guys on land, but the diver would have pretty much the same.
Do you do this under the ice as well?
Yeah, we do ice diving as well. The main reason to do ice diving would be to salvage vehicles who went through the ice.
We're just establishing some baselines, some standard operating procedures, and just making sure that we have a realistic progression of training, that everything's safe. We're currently moving their vehicles with our boats, and we're doing joint reconnaissance of the landing sites.
The landing craft can transport anything from a Land Rover to 32 troops. Crewed by 3 Marines, it's capable of 15 knots. The offshore raiding craft are much faster at 40 knots. One variant can carry both the GPMG and 50 cal machine gun, the other up to 8 Marines. The smaller Zodiac's ideal for the more covert insertions. Importantly, the craft are air portable, meaning the squadron can deploy anywhere.
The 539 offers a unique capability to UK defence. We're the only conventional forces who are both trained as Commando infanteers and as craft operators. So our ability to deliver reconnaissance, troop movement and a whole range of other tasks to a standard expected Royal Marine is unique to UK defence.
They'll be part of the 1,000 troops the government has promised to Norway for the next 10 years, integrating into Norway's defence plan. But they're not the only bootnecks on exercise in the Arctic. Further inland is Charlie Company of 40 Commando. 40 Commando has men all over the world, from the desert to the jungle, and here in the Arctic, often called the toughest environment to operate in. Last year it was announced the Royal Marines will integrate into the Norwegian defence plan, and instead of simply training in Norway, they'll be working with the Norwegians.
It'll be an interesting challenge. It'll be the first time I think a number of us have worked in close cooperation with the Norwegians. Obviously we come to their country and train. Traditionally we've done that largely on our own, so actually embedding ourselves into one of their brigades, understanding how all our equipment and communication devices, how that works together, it's going to be a great opportunity just to really test ourselves and be part of their battle group.
Climate change has altered things here. It's unveiled new shipping routes, natural gases and minerals. It's why NATO is concerned about Russia's intentions. This is all part of the new Arctic strategy. Royal Navy submarines will spend more time under the ice, and from 2020 the UK will begin using its new P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft.
And over the next 10 years, 1,000 Royal Marines have been committed to the Arctic deployment, ensuring they're ready in the event they need to protect the northern flank.
It's expected the near future will see the two allies begin to look in depth at the tactics for defending Norway.
So I think that's all part of the bigger plan. At this early stage we're probably not quite into that, but clearly understanding the Norwegian defence plan and how the Royal Marines fit into that is all part of it. And I think certainly in the next 10 years, as we progress through this plan, you'll see greater depth, a greater understanding as to how the Royal Marines would potentially come forward and support our NATO ally if they needed us to defend their country.
5 weeks into their Arctic warfare training, Charlie Company are preparing for those bigger challenges. Moving on from the basic survival course, they're now training with their Viking all-terrain vehicles, 200 miles inside the Arctic Circle.
We're doing some LFTC, some live fire tactical training, and now moving on to integrating with the Vikings. That's all so that we can be proficient soldiers when we move on to exercise Northern Wind, which we're working alongside NATO partners and allies as part of our collective defence.
It's taking the men longer than they expected, the reason for which, the weather, forcing them to work in temperatures as low as -30.
It's just the cold weather. As soon as you start getting used to that, it becomes natural again, because you operate here for quite a while, it just becomes normality. So you just kind of get on with it.
Not everyone here is an Arctic veteran. For some, it's their first time on skis. This here is skijoring.
We've all done that on our novices course, so that's quite interesting.
Where and why would you use that?
So you could use that if you needed to get to a position where the ground was fairly good and you had a shorter amount of time to get there, and you needed to dismount to go in assault position or to form up with another team, section, troop, then you could use that as a really quick way of transport for exfil or going into a position.
Yeah, take it.
In March, 7,000 NATO troops will descend on Sweden. The Swedes and Finns will try to protect their land, while the UK, the US and the Norwegians will act as a large military force from the east to see just how well those borders are protected.
It's going to be the first time we operate alongside Norwegian forces. We're going to be under the command of the 2nd Battalion, which is a Norwegian battalion. And we're going to be in Brigade North, which is an armoured brigade. So it's going to be interesting for everyone working with armoured and Norwegian forces.
If the worst was to happen, then we would be fighting in these climates. So going into a big level exercise like that with the people who live here, who work here, who've always excelled fighting in this environment, to see how we fare will be, I think, really interesting.
Good, it should be good exercise. It'd be nice to use the Vikings, get out there and do some good training. So yeah, looking forward to it.
The lessons from that taken forward to next year, when the bigger UK Arctic exercise, Cold Response, begins.